Hi everyone and welcome back to the Nurses.co.uk Academy. If you're new here, a massive welcome and go and check out all of the other videos. And today's session is all about career development, which is massively important to nurses, I think. And just like all of the other modules, we're going to identify the key challenges in career development and we're going to work through the options to help us deal with them. And as you may have noticed from the other videos, we are here to guide, lead, teach, coach. We're not here to give you all of the answers. So we're here to give you the information, get you thinking outside the box, and hopefully it's going to spark some inspiration in you, which we know it's not always easy, but it is possible. When the NHS asks nurses why they're leaving the profession, career development and progression is one of the top things that people say. So in this module, we're going to look at what this means, then what can we do ourselves to respond to this? So what is career development? I'm sure you would have heard this a number of times out there. Career development is the evolution of your life at work, and it's quite common that people tend to think of it as more of a promotion when actually career development isn't about promotion. And also career development is part of our NMC revalidation every 3 years. We have to do it whether we like it or not. So I'm going to hopefully give you some things in this to move you forward with career development. And in a non-nursing commercial world, career development is often something that people have to go out there, own it and steer it themselves. And an employee in the commercial world will very much forward think about their own career development. They might put themselves forward for a new promotion, a new role. They might take up new training possibilities. They may even go out their way to pay for their own training because they write their own story. This is their life, their career, their choice. And they might do this in a number of ways. They might go out and find a training program and then take it back to their employer and ask them to pay for it. I have myself done this. If it's going to help and your career, your progression, if it's going to help the clinics that you're working in, the hospital you're working in, wherever you're working, it's going to be a massive bonus to the company. So there's no reason why they might not fork out for it. They might be super keen to take part in in-house training programs. They might look for a new employer. They might ask for a pay rise. They might set goals for themselves. They might apply critical thinking into their own role. I mean, as nurses, we always critical think, so this is a good stepping stone, I think. We should always be like that. They may also speak to the manager about different roles in the company that they can apply for and what steps they can take to get there. And then they might plan those actionable steps that they can do to get them there. They just might also be very hardworking and go out there to make sure the manager knows that they are hardworking, so that when roles and things like that come up, they know that they can be a reliable, trustworthy, hardworking person for that new role. And when we think of all these things, it's easy to picture this sort of person that's going out there, they're always busy, they're always on the go, they're always doing things to make things happen on their own. They're not expecting somebody else to do it for them. Because let's face it, opportunities do not just land on your doorstep unexpectedly. You do have to go out and you have to work hard for it. Anyway, let's get back to reasons for leaving. So let's look at the most common reasons cited under career development within the NHS that nurses say why they're leaving. Lack of progression, unfair promotion of others. It's who you know, not what you know. I have seen this. And massive lack of training. And once again, you can be that person in the centre that creates positive change out there. Now, unless you want to actually leave nursing for good, never to watch another one of these videos ever again because you hate it so much, let's have a look at what can be done by you to keep you in nursing. And let's look at how to nurture that love of nursing, to bring that passion back and get you to where you want to be in nursing. So our first one, as we said, lack of progression. And lack of progression is one reason that nurses give of why they're leaving a position. But what does this actually mean? Let's break it down. We can assume that it means that somebody has had that vision, that goal in their mind of where they want to be placed, and it's just not being met by the employers. Do you share this sentiment? So let's examine what steps you have taken so far. First, you have set out your short, medium, long-term career goals, and you've set them in stone, hoping that you're going to meet all of them and smash them. Request an opportunity to discuss these goals with your manager or HR department. Following that meeting, you can both set an action plan for yourself to reach those goals. And once done, you can move on to the next goal. and then paid for or at least requested funding for the training required to meet your goals. Taken any additional qualifications, training and that sort of thing to gain more knowledge and qualifications. Find out what's needed of you to be able to apply for that promotion. Ensure you'll be considered to be put forward for that promotion when it next pops up. Apply for the vacancy. And if you're not successful this time round, ask why, get feedback. This is one of my biggest loves. I love to get feedback from other people. It's something I always did as a student nurse. If I didn't quite get the grade I was expecting or something like that, if I didn't get a job opportunity, if I didn't get I failed my interview for university twice before I got in there. Get feedback, ask why, how you can improve, and put those little stepping stones in place to make sure you smash it next time. So just while thinking about all of the steps above, do you think these steps are valid or are they not valid? If not, why? Put a comment below. And of course, there's no right way for any of this. These are just little steps that you can do to help along the way. And everyone is different and unique in the way that they'll handle situations. So find what works best for you. But what we're really hoping to demonstrate through this session is that you can take charge of your own career and own it. And of course, you've always got other options. If you want to leave nursing, then leave nursing. Don't feel guilty about it if it's truly what's best for you. And also find a new employer. There's no shame in that either. I have done this as well. I'm going to go into a little bit of a story time now. But when I first qualified as a newly qualified nurse, I went into my first place of work and I didn't feel like I was getting the support I needed. In fact, I was there 10 months. I never had one person shadow me, supervise me, appraise me, nothing. As a newly qualified nurse, I was left to defend myself. And I'm not going to lie, I went home crying every single day. And it just got to the point where I didn't feel safe because of that. I know that sounds weird, but I didn't feel safe and I didn't feel like the practice was safe, and there was other things going on in the background that I didn't feel was safe. So in the end, I left. And the next place that I worked at was amazing. It was such a turnaround. They were really supportive. All I wanted was a supportive team that I loved. That was my goal. And I found that in my next place of work, and I absolutely adored it and loved all of the staff there. So don't be afraid to change. And of course, those are really big, drastic decisions that might make you feel guilty for leaving, especially if it's so quick. If you've not long started that position, I advise just giving it a few months, making the change and seeing where you can go first. And if you consider, most employers actually want people like you, somebody that's passionate, willing to learn, willing to progress, willing to educate themselves and just push forward in their career. And this puts you right in the driving seat. And don't wait to be asked. Go out there and do it. Say to your manager, you know, I really want to do this. I found this really good course I can go on. Get out there and put those feelers in their minds, because they might be so busy that they're not even thinking about you and progression and all sorts. They might be so busy doing other things. So you forward thinking and going, do you know what? This is what I want to do. It'd be a benefit to the team and patients. And they would love that. I think that forward thinking, they're going to really thrive on. Next section, we have unfair promotion of others. And this is right for a one-to-one coaching session. And it's quite an accusation to make about somebody. And we would love to know where these accusations come from. But to our coaching ears, there seems like there's more behind this accusation. And rather this pin of who said what to who when, it might be better to contextualise this between the staff and management relationships. And we would suggest that we consider this in that context, since an accusation like this doesn't sound like a particular event, but a way of viewing all management decisions with scepticism. It also suggests that the person viewing this like this is maybe lacking self-worth and feeling less valued, or they may be feeling invisible. And raising that self-esteem inside you and taking those steps towards your career goals or career development cannot be ignored. And if you're documenting everything and recording meetings and requests that you've put in for promotions and you're still being ignored by it, please dispute it. Take it higher up, but with evidence. Again, it's about taking that personal action. It is your career and you should be the one to develop it. Next up, we have lack of training. So a lack of training, it's not possible to know if this is a failing from your organisation unless it's physically written into your contract. And your expectations of what training should look like and what it should be is completely different to what you're entitled to. And again, you guessed it, any grievance we are going to turn into a positive action. Even if it's not contracted into your contract, yeah, that made sense. Moving on. Then you can request it if it's going to benefit you, like I was saying earlier, it's going to benefit the team, it's going to benefit the patients. Request it and they should hopefully approve it if the funding's there. And don't be afraid to remind them that you are a valuable employee that they should be investing in a polite way, professionally. Show your manager your career goals and the steps that you want to take to get there, like we were discussing earlier, and this will help them make that decision about training and funding and things like that. So if you say to them, listen, I want to be the lead nurse of this ward or community, wherever you're working, within the next 5 years, then they're going to be like, oh, okay, we've got a nurse for 5 years guaranteed. If we start putting them through training, they're going to start thinking a little bit differently about you and your training. And putting aside the odd personalities of some very spiteful management teams, there is no employer in the country that would not snap you up with those sort of goals and visions for yourself and the team. That is showing great ambition, great loyalty. What else do they want? And if your employer isn't coming to you with training opportunities or anything like that, don't get upset by it. It's just one of those things, and feel free, like I said earlier, to go to them and approach them. And finally, of course, you can pay for your own training if that's what you want to do. It's going to help your career progression. It's great for your NMC revalidation. It is all good, and it's going to enhance your knowledge and abilities as a nurse. And that trait will be rewarded in the long term. Next, we have a little case study for you. So a member of my own team joined me for a discussion just before their probationary period, about 10 weeks into their role. We were working in an NHS trust aiming to reduce the A&E waiting times. So this wasn't a clinical role, it's more of a coaching role. And Marina had come from a practice nurse position. She had 18 months under her belt. She was really great with the patients, one-to-one with them. And she could see how her health promotion skills from her primary care days could really transfer into her current role. And at her interview, we were really impressed with her 2 degrees, both related in healthcare subjects, and how her academic work was utilised in her daily work. However, unfortunately, Mariana decided to leave our team and go back to practice nursing. In fact, she surprised herself at how much she really loved the hands-on with patients, which I think is quite a common thing in nursing. When people leave to do less clinical roles, they tend to miss the face-to-face patients. But we all have our calling, whether you like it or not. But over a few sessions, we talked about her personal development plan and how her life choices would impact her decisions. And ultimately what Mariana realised was she'd made a huge mistake making that move, and she really missed practice nursing. She was listening to that inner voice inside of her. She had set a goal and a pathway, and she was going to stick to it. And some might think Mariana made a mistake in leaving practice nursing in the first place, but I don't think she did. Far from it. And here is the golden nugget of a lesson. She not only realised where she wants to be in life, or where she needed to be in life, but she decided to underline that with more ambition, more fire in her soul, and decided to go back and study more for it. She then went on to secure a master's degree in advanced nurse practitioner course, which is amazing. She also found a local surgery that was going to support this and allowed her to work 5 days over a 4-day week. And not only would this role fit in with her studies, but a better work-life balance for her and her family as well. Sometimes it's important to keep that forward momentum by taking a risk. Rarely does it not serve you, but you need to make your goals and set about making them happen. And all nurses have opportunities out there. You just have to go and find them. Like I said earlier, it's not going to fall on your doorstep. You're going to have to go out, take that initiative and do what's right for you. Development does not just mean promotion. On a closing note about this example, we need to recognise that moving forward isn't another word for promotion. We need nurses who want to stay in their banding and their existing roles. They bring a massive wealth of knowledge and expertise that can't be easily replaced, and it should be respected. And if you are one of these people, you need to set yourself goals too, but not the typical goals that's going to transition you through the bands and get higher and higher up. This is about you and how you develop. Ask yourself how to measure an advancement, and actively promote yourself to your management teams. And your desire to continue to work hands-on instead of working your way up into a management role is massively commendable, and it ought to be recognised. In fact, if all nurses shared your view of development that did that, we might come back to look at how pay scales are paid with a new perspective. And we all do this job because we genuinely care. We're not doing it for the money, although money is needed to pay the bills. It's because we love the job and we care about it. And in this quote from Roosevelt Theodore, I see it being summed up really, really nicely. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And if your own goals are to care more, to give better care, then they're a very worthy set of goals indeed. So tools, how do we action our own career development? And there's so much we can do to bring change into our lives. Below we've bullet pointed some activities that you can do, and they could all be articles within themselves. And in our one-to-one coaching sessions, we can go through these with you. But for now, take a look at this list of options available to you to reach your career goal. Think about your 3-year, 5-year, 10-year career goal and mark out the steps you're going to do to take you there. And ask to meet your manager to discuss this with. Research other roles, networking, shadowing other people, informal visits, volunteering, appraisals, forums, mentoring, sabbatical leave, secondments, placements, revalidation and CPD, which is good for revalidation. Pay for yourself to take extra training. Ask how you can increase your chances for that promotion. Take a management course. Why not? So we want to know, what are your goals? Have you ever taken any steps to advance your career development? Do you think that all training should be provided by your employer? Are you a night before person when it comes to revalidation, or do you plan? What would be your perfect next step? Are you just sitting there counting down your days till retirement? If so, how does that make you get out of bed in the morning? And should we talk about the protagonist concept? Thank you as always for watching. Let's discuss.